Naira Dazan had always known what it felt like to be the other one in her own home. Not unloved exactly, because her parents still smiled at her, still asked if she had eaten, still told people she was trying. But she was never the child they bragged about. Never the one they dressed up for visitors. Never the one they called into the living room to show off her grades or her small wins. That place belonged to her cousin Selwyn Cade, her mother's sister's son, who arrived like a bright, expensive perfume every time he visited. If you enjoy emotional love stories like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Your support truly means a lot. Selwyn was the kind of person people stared at without meaning to. He wore calm confidence the way other people wore bracelets. He talked softly, laughed easily, and carried money like it was just part of his skin. When Selwyn entered a room, Naira's parents leaned toward him. Their voices became sweeter, lighter, like they were afraid to crack the air. Naira learned early not to compete. But one rainy evening, everything changed. It happened at a family gathering held in the biggest house on the street, the one that belonged to Selwyn's mother, Aunt Leora. The living room was full of rich colors, gold-framed photos, deep couches, glass tables that shone like mirrors. Naira had worn a simple blue dress. Her mother had suggested she keep it modest, as if modesty was the only thing she deserved. Naira sat quietly at the edge of the room while adults talked about investments, land, and travel plans. Then the front door opened again. A tall man stepped in, shaking rain from his jacket. He looked around as if he didn't want to be noticed, but his face made it impossible. He had sharp, gentle eyes that looked like they could hold a secret without forcing it out. His hair was neat, his posture relaxed, and his smile came slow, like he didn't waste it on empty moments. Aunt Leora clapped her hands. "Everyone, this is Vero Elson," she announced proudly. "He's my business partner's son. He just came back from abroad." Vero greeted people politely, then drifted toward the side of the room, as if he preferred corners to crowds. That was when his eyes met Naira's. He didn't glance away like most people did after deciding she wasn't the important one. He looked at her like she was a person worth knowing. Naira's heart gave a strange, careful jump. Vero walked over. "You look like you'd rather be anywhere else," he said softly. Naira blinked, surprised. "Is it that obvious?" He smiled. "A little. I'm Vero. Naira." He sat on the armchair opposite her, keeping a respectful distance. "Do you want to leave this room for a second? There's too much noise in here." Naira hesitated. Her parents would not like her disappearing with a stranger, especially one connected to Selwyn's wealthy side. But something in Vero's calm voice made her feel safe. They stepped into a hallway where family portraits lined the wall. Vero studied a photo of Selwyn receiving an award. "That guy seems popular," he said. Naira let out a small laugh. "You could say that." "And you?" he asked, turning toward her. "What do you like?" No one had ever asked her that so directly, without first asking what she did for work or how much she earned. Naira swallowed. "I like designing things. Clothes, spaces, small details. I sketch a lot." Vero's eyes softened. "That's beautiful." "It's not exactly impressive," Naira said quickly. "Not in this family." Vero leaned slightly closer, his voice low. "Maybe the family is the one with a problem, not you." The hallway suddenly felt warmer. From that night, Vero kept finding ways to talk to her. At gatherings, he'd sit near her instead of the loud people. When she spoke, he listened fully, as if she mattered. When she laughed, he looked pleased, not like he was collecting her laughter for ego, but like he was grateful to see it. Naira tried not to get attached, because life had taught her that good things didn't stay. Still, 2 weeks later, Vero asked her out. Not to a flashy restaurant. Not to impress anyone. He took her to a quiet cafe where the lights were soft and the chairs were comfortable. They shared pastries and talked for hours. Naira told him about her childhood. The small humiliations, the constant comparisons, the way her parents' eyes changed whenever Selwyn was mentioned. Vero listened without interrupting, his hand resting near hers on the table like a promise he wasn't forcing. When Naira's voice shook, Vero reached across and gently touched her fingers. "You didn't deserve that," he said. Naira's eyes stung. "It's not your problem." Vero held her gaze. "It is if I care about you." That sentence hit her like a door opening. And for the first time in a long time, Naira allowed herself to imagine being loved without conditions. But love, in Naira's world, always came with a test. The test arrived in the form of Selwyn. It was another family gathering. This one was meant to celebrate Selwyn's new business deal. Everyone dressed their best. Naira almost didn't go, but her mother insisted. You must show face, her mother said, tightening the scarf around Naira's neck. People must see we are united. Naira knew what that really meant. People must see Selwyn is supported. When they arrived, Naira spotted Vero near the backyard, standing by the lights strung across the garden. He looked handsome in a dark shirt, sleeves rolled slightly, and when he saw her, his face softened in a way that made her breath catch. She walked toward him. But before she reached, Selwyn stepped in front of her. Naira, Selwyn said, smiling. His smile was friendly, but his eyes were sharp. I heard you've been spending time with Vero. Naira's shoulders stiffened. Yes. Selwyn tilted his head. Interesting choice. It's not a choice you get to approve, Naira said, trying to keep her voice steady. Selwyn laughed lightly, like she was adorable for trying. Relax. I'm not judging. I'm just surprised. Why? Naira asked. Selwyn leaned closer, his voice dropping. Because Vero is not the kind of man who wastes time. He's serious. And you? His eyes flickered over her simple dress. You've never been in his world. Naira felt heat rise in her chest. I don't need to be in his world. I just need to be respected. Selwyn's smile thinned. Respect is earned, cousin. Naira stepped around him and walked straight to Vero. Vero watched her face carefully. Are you okay? Naira forced a smile. I'm fine. But Vero knew she wasn't. He gently guided her toward a quieter corner of the garden. What did he say? Vero asked. It doesn't matter, Naira lied. Vero's jaw tightened slightly. It matters to me. Naira looked down at her hands. He thinks I don't belong with you. Vero's expression went still, then soft. And what do you think? Naira's voice trembled. I'm tired, Vero. I'm tired of being treated like I'm less. Vero reached out and held her hands fully now, warm and steady. Then let me be the place where you're not less. Naira's eyes filled. He wiped a tear with his thumb, gentle like he was handling something fragile and precious. I don't want you to fight for a place in my life, he said. I want you to walk in like you were always meant to be there. That night, Vero asked her to officially be with him. Not in secret, not quietly, not as a hidden thing. He wanted her in the open. But when her parents found out, their reaction was not joy. Her father's face hardened. Vero Elson? That boy comes from money. So? Naira asked, confused. Isn't that what you respect? Her mother shook her head sharply. You will embarrass us. Naira stared. How? Her mother's voice lowered. Because people will think you trapped him. They will say you used your sadness and your poor background to catch a rich man. Naira felt like someone had slapped her. Her father pointed a finger. And do not think this will make you equal to Selwyn. Selwyn is family. Selwyn is proven. You are. He stopped, but the silence finished the sentence. You are not enough. Naira's chest hurt. So you'd rather I stay small so nobody talks? Her mother's eyes flashed. We want peace. Peace. Naira repeated, voice rising. You mean control. You mean you want me to stay in the corner forever. Her father stood. If you insist on this relationship, don't come crying when it ends. Naira left the room shaking. Outside, she called Vero, voice breaking. My parents hate it. Vero's response was calm but firm. Then we'll build something that doesn't depend on their approval. Naira wanted to believe him. She really did. But the next week, things got worse. Rumors started moving through the family like smoke. Whispers that Naira was desperate, that she was throwing herself at wealth, that she was using love as a ladder. And Selwyn, sweet Selwyn, kept smiling at gatherings, acting innocent, while every rumor somehow carried his scent. One evening, Naira went to meet Vero at a small restaurant. She arrived early, sitting by the window, trying to breathe through her anxiety. Then she saw Selwyn walk in. Naira stood immediately. Why are you here? Selwyn smiled like he owned the air. To talk. I don't want to talk. Selwyn took the seat opposite her anyway. I'm trying to help you. Naira scoffed. Help me by insulting me? Selwyn's smile disappeared. Listen, cousin. Vero is not for you. Naira's voice went cold. And you are. Selwyn leaned forward. I'm the one who knows how this world works. Vero's family will never truly accept you. And when they finally pressure him, he will choose them. Naira's eyes burned. You don't know him. Selwyn's gaze sharpened. I know men like him. They don't marry for love. They marry for image. Naira's heart thumped painfully. Selwyn stood. Walk away now and you'll hurt less. Then he walked out, leaving Naira with shaking hands and a throat full of fear. A few minutes later, Vero arrived, smiling, until he saw her face. "What happened?" he asked. Naira tried to speak, but her voice cracked. Vero sat beside her and pulled her gently into his shoulder. "Hey, breathe. Talk to me," Naira whispered. "Selwyn says you'll leave me." Vero's body went still. Then he lifted her chin so she had to look at him. "Naira," he said slowly, "I'm not your parents. I'm not Selwyn. I'm not anyone who measures you by money." His voice softened. "But I need you to trust me." Naira nodded, tears slipping down. "I want to. I'm just scared." Vero kissed her forehead. "Then let's be scared together, but let's not let fear decide for us." Naira closed her eyes, clinging to him like he was the first real safety she'd ever touched. But far away, in the shadows of family pride and jealousy, something was already being planned. And Naira, still hoping love would be enough, didn't yet know that her heartbreak was coming. A month later, Naira's relationship with Vero became the only place she could breathe. When her parents acted cold, Vero warmed her. When her family whispered, Vero spoke truth. When she doubted herself, he reminded her of her worth so many times that she started to hear it even when he wasn't around. They built small routines, morning calls, late-night voice notes, weekend walks where Naira brought her sketchbook and Vero brought coffee. He'd sit beside her and watch her draw like it was magic. "You're talented," he'd tell her. "I'm just trying," she'd always reply. Vero would smile. Trying is how people become unstoppable. Naira wasn't used to being someone's pride. So it terrified her, because pride could turn into loss. The day everything broke started like an ordinary day. Naira received a message from her mother. "Come home." Family meeting. Naira almost ignored it. Family meetings were never about her. They were about money, Selwyn, reputation, or some new way to remind her she didn't fit. But something in her mother's short message made her stomach twist. She went. When she entered the living room, her father sat stiffly with his arms folded. Her mother's eyes were red like she had cried. And Selwyn sat casually on the couch, legs crossed, calm as ever. Naira stopped in the doorway. "What is this?" Her father didn't waste time. "We need help." Naira blinked, stunned. "Help with what?" Her mother's voice trembled. "Aunt Leora's business, the one Selwyn invested in, it collapsed." Naira stared at Selwyn. Selwyn's jaw tightened slightly, but he kept his expression controlled. "It's complicated." Her father leaned forward. "Selwyn lost everything. Your aunt lost everything. And he swallowed hard. "We also." Naira's heart pounded. "You also what?" Her mother's lips shook. "We put our savings into it. Your father used the house papers as collateral." Naira felt dizzy. "You used the house?" Her father snapped. "Don't start acting like you care now. We did what we had to do." Naira's voice rose. "You risked our home because Selwyn told you to?" Selwyn cut in softly. "Naira, don't say my name like you're innocent." Naira snapped, surprising even herself. Her mother hurried. "We didn't come to fight. We came to ask. We need you to talk to Vero." Naira froze. "Vero?" Her father nodded. "His family has influence. Money. Connections. If he can help." Naira's chest tightened. "So you hated my relationship, but now you want to use it." Her mother's face twisted like she was offended. "We're desperate." Naira laughed, but it was hollow. "You weren't desperate when you were crushing me." Her father stood. "Enough. Are you going to help or not?" Naira's eyes burned. "You never chose me. Not once." Her mother whispered, "Please, Naira." That word, please, felt strange from her mother's mouth. It was like hearing a lion beg. Naira looked at Selwyn. "What did you do?" Selwyn finally showed irritation. "It was a risk. It didn't work." Naira stepped closer, her voice cold. "You told everyone I wasn't good enough for Vero. But you were good enough to drag my parents into your failure." Selwyn stood too. "Watch your mouth." Naira's hands shook. "No. You watch yours. Because I'm done being quiet." She turned toward her parents. "You want me to talk to Vero? Fine. I will." Her mother's eyes widened with hope. Naira raised her chin. "But don't think this makes you family again." She left them there, broken, ashamed, and suddenly realizing that the child they ignored had become the only rope left in their hands. That night, Naira sat with Vero in his apartment. The lights were dim. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Vero listened as she explained everything. The collapsed business, the lost house, the way her parents begged. When she finished, silence filled the room. Vero's voice was gentle. "Do you want to help them?" Naira swallowed. "I don't know." Vero nodded slowly. "That's honest." Naira's eyes filled. I hate how they treated me. But I can't stand the thought of them losing everything. Vero reached for her hand. Then help them for you. Not because they deserve it. Naira breathed out shakily. Will your family even agree? Vero's expression tightened slightly. My family doesn't decide who I help. I do. Naira stared. Are you sure? Vero's voice turned firm. Naira, you're not a shameful secret. You're not a charity case. You're my choice. And if anyone tries to disrespect you, they'll answer to me. Naira's heart softened. But then Vero's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. His face changed. What is it? Naira asked. Vero hesitated. My mother. Naira's stomach dropped. What did she say? Vero's jaw flexed. She wants to meet you. Tomorrow. Naira's throat went tight. To accept me? Vero looked away for half a second. To assess the situation. Naira felt fear crawl up her spine. Because assess sounded like judge. The next day, Naira dressed carefully. Not too flashy. Not too humble. Something balanced. Something she hoped would say I am worthy without begging. Vero drove her to his family's home. It wasn't a mansion like Aunt Leora's, but it was elegant in a quiet way. Clean lines, tall gates, a garden that looked professionally loved. The kind of place that didn't need to shout wealth, because wealth already lived there. Vero squeezed her hand before they went in. Stay close to me. Inside, Vero's mother, Lady Maris Elson, sat with straight posture and sharp eyes. She was beautiful in a controlled way. Hair perfectly styled, jewelry simple but expensive. A woman used to power. She looked Naira up and down. Vero, she said, ignoring Naira at first, so this is her. Vero's tone stayed respectful but firm. Mother, this is Naira. Lady Maris finally looked into Naira's eyes. Naira, sit. Naira sat, hands clasped. Lady Maris spoke calmly. I heard your family is in trouble. Naira nodded. Yes. And they want my son to help. Naira swallowed. They asked me to speak to him, yes. Lady Maris leaned back. Tell me something. Are you with my son because you love him, or because you need him? Naira's heart pounded. Vero stiffened. Mother. But Lady Maris raised a hand. Let her answer. Naira took a slow breath. I love him, she said. And I needed him emotionally long before I ever needed anything financially. Lady Maris stared. Love is easy to say. Naira's voice shook, but she held her ground. Then watch me. Watch how I treat him. Watch how I protect him. Love is not just words. It's consistent. Vero's eyes softened with pride. Lady Maris paused, then said, If Vero helps your family, it will be because he chooses to. Not because you influenced him. And if your family tries to use him, I will crush them. Naira's throat tightened. I understand. Lady Maris leaned forward slightly. Good. Now tell me, what do you want? Naira blinked. What do I want? Lady Maris's voice was sharp. Do you want to be his wife one day? Naira froze. Vero's breath caught. Naira didn't look away. Yes, she whispered. If he still wants me. Vero turned to her fully, eyes intense. I do. For a moment, the room held its breath. Then Lady Maris nodded once. We will see. After the meeting, Vero drove Naira home. She sat quietly, staring out the window, heart heavy with nerves. Vero reached over and held her hand. You did well. Naira's voice trembled. I felt like I was standing in front of a storm. Vero smiled slightly. You stood anyway. Naira leaned her head against his shoulder for a second. I'm scared. Vero kissed her hair. I'm here. But as they drove, Naira didn't see the message on Vero's phone from an unknown number. She's using you. Ask her about the money she secretly saved. Ask her about the calls she made last week. And Naira didn't know that Selwyn, ruined, bitter, and desperate, had decided that if he couldn't rise, he would drag her down with him. Naira woke up to tension she couldn't explain. Vero was still kind, still gentle, but there was a quiet distance in his eyes, like a door he hadn't fully closed yet. They met at their usual cafe. Vero arrived on time, ordered her favorite drink, and smiled. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. Naira's chest tightened. What's wrong? Vero looked at his hands, then up at her. Someone sent me a message. Naira's skin went cold. About what? Vero hesitated. About you. Naira swallowed. From who? Vero shook his head. Unknown number. Naira's fingers curled into her palm. What did it say? Vero's voice was careful. It said you're using me. That you saved money secretly. That you made calls last week about financial help. Naira stared at him, shocked. You believe that? Vero's eyes flashed with hurt. I don't want to. But my mother warned me, Naira. Your family is desperate. And now this message comes right when they ask for help. Naira's throat tightened. Vero, I did not make any calls like that. Vero's voice softened. Then explain the saved money. Naira froze. Vero noticed. So it's true. Naira whispered, yes. I saved money. Vero's expression darkened. Why didn't you tell me? Naira's eyes filled. Because in my life, money has been used as a weapon. If people know you have it, they take it. They demand it. They shame you until you hand it over. Vero's jaw tightened. But you're not alone anymore. Naira's voice cracked. I'm still learning how to believe that. Vero leaned back, pain visible in his face. Did you save it to help your parents? Were you planning something? Naira shook her head quickly. No. I saved it because I've never had anyone to rely on. I saved it because I was scared of life. Vero stared at her for a long moment. Naira reached across the table. Vero, please. You know me. Vero didn't pull away, but he didn't squeeze her hand either. I'm trying to. Naira's tears fell. Ask me anything. I'll answer. Vero swallowed hard. Did you tell your parents we could help them? Naira whispered. I said I would talk to you. That's all. Vero's voice tightened. And Selwyn? Did you speak to him? Naira shook her head. He came to me. He warned me. He's been trying to poison this. Vero's eyes narrowed. He has reason to. Naira's breath caught. You think he did this? Vero hesitated. I don't know. That hesitation broke something inside Naira. Because love, to her, was supposed to feel like safety. But right now, love felt like standing on a glass bridge. Naira stood abruptly. I can't do this. Vero stood too. Naira. She wiped her tears angrily. I'm tired of proving my innocence. I'm tired of being questioned like I'm guilty for existing. Vero stepped closer. I'm not accusing you. I'm scared too. Naira laughed bitterly. Scared of what? That I'll take your money? That I'll ruin your family name? I've been fighting shame since childhood. I thought you were different. Vero's face twisted with regret. I am different. But I'm still human. Naira's voice dropped to a whisper. So am I. She walked out of the cafe. Vero didn't chase her. And that made the heartbreak heavier. For days, Naira stayed silent. She ignored calls. Ignored messages. She poured her pain into sketches until her hands cramped. She told herself she was protecting herself. But at night, she missed him so much it hurt physically. One evening, there was a knock at her door. When Naira opened it, she found Vero standing there, eyes tired, hair slightly messy like he'd been running his hands through it too many times. He held a small folder. I need you to hear me, Vero said. Naira's voice was flat. You didn't believe me. Vero swallowed. I should have believed you faster. Naira's eyes burned. So why are you here? Vero lifted the folder. Because I investigated the message. Naira blinked. You did. Vero nodded. I traced it through a friend in cybersecurity. It wasn't truly unknown. Naira's breath caught. Who was it? Vero's jaw tightened. Selwyn. Naira's knees almost weakened. Vero stepped closer. He used a mask number service. He sent it to make me doubt you. Naira's eyes filled again, but this time with rage. Why? Vero's voice was low. Because he's drowning. And he can't stand that you're still standing. Naira trembled. My whole life, he's been my parents' golden child. Vero's eyes softened. Not anymore. Naira wiped her face quickly. So what now? Vero took a breath. Now I'm apologizing. Fully. No excuses. He stepped closer, voice shaking slightly. I hurt you, Naira. And I hate myself for it. Naira's voice was small. You didn't chase me. Vero's eyes shined. Because I was trying to respect your space, and I was ashamed. But it's not an excuse. Naira stared at him, heart aching. I love you, Vero. Vero's voice cracked. I love you too. Silence held them. Then Naira whispered, I don't want to lose you. Vero stepped into her space carefully, like he was asking permission with his whole body. Then don't. Naira looked up at him, tears slipping down. Promise me you'll trust me when it matters. Vero nodded, eyes steady. I promise. Naira exhaled shakily. Okay. Vero pulled her into his arms, slow, gentle, like he was rebuilding something broken piece by piece. Naira pressed her face into his chest, crying quietly, letting herself finally be held without fear. The next day, Naira and Vero went to confront her parents. They arrived together, hand in hand. Her mother opened the door and gasped. Vero! Her father stood behind her, looking both hopeful and ashamed. Naira's voice was firm. We know Selwyn sent the message. Her mother's face went pale. What message? Vero spoke calmly. He tried to break us. To manipulate you. To push Naira down again. Her father's jaw tightened. Selwyn would not. Vero held up proof from the folder. Naira watched as her father's confidence collapsed. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. Oh no! Naira stepped forward. You always chose him. Even when he was wrong. Even when he hurt me. Her father's voice cracked. Naira! Naira's eyes burned. Now you want me to save you. Her mother whispered. We made mistakes. Naira's voice lowered. You made a lifetime of them. Then Vero squeezed her hand, grounding her. Naira breathed in. Here is what will happen. We will help you, but not because you deserve it. Because I refuse to become cruel like you taught me. Her father's face tightened with shame. Naira continued. But things will change. No more disrespect. No more comparing me to Selwyn. And Selwyn will not step into my life again. Her mother nodded quickly. Yes. Yes, please. Vero added, and the help will be structured. Legal. Transparent. Not emotional blackmail. Her father whispered, Thank you. Naira looked him in the eyes. Don't thank me like I'm your last option. Start acting like I'm your daughter. Her father's eyes filled. I'm sorry. Naira's throat tightened, but she didn't let it soften her too fast. We'll see. Weeks passed. Vero helped Naira's parents stabilize, through proper channels, controlled steps, and clear boundaries. Naira also contributed part of her savings, but she did it on her own terms. She didn't announce it like a hero. She didn't beg for applause. She simply did what her heart could live with. And in the middle of all that chaos, love became quieter, deeper. Vero showed up consistently. He didn't just say sorry once. He proved it every day, listening, communicating, asking before assuming, trusting her when fear tried to return. One night, Vero took Naira to the same quiet cafe where they first talked for hours. He held her hands across the table. I've been thinking, Vero said. Naira's heart fluttered. About what? About forever, he replied. Naira's breath caught. Vero, he smiled softly. I don't want a love that only survives when life is easy. I want the kind that stays when it's ugly. Naira's eyes filled. I want that too. Vero's thumb brushed her fingers. Then let's keep choosing each other. Naira nodded, tears slipping down, but this time they weren't only pain. They were relief. They were healing. Because for the first time in her life, Naira wasn't begging to be chosen. She already was. And somewhere behind them, her parents were learning a hard lesson. The child they ignored became the woman who could save them, yet still had the strength to love without losing herself. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Your support helps us share more powerful stories like this.